Welcome to the Growth Room with David Daniels. Today, we're incredibly fortunate to have Elena Bondareva, the visionary founder and CEO of Vivit Group Worldwide. Elena, with her Cornell University advanced degree while on her way currently to a doctorate, is a lauded transformation expert, strategist, keynote speaker, and author. Today, we'll be diving into her unparalleled approach to leadership consultation and exploring the significant trends she's observing in the industry. Elena, it's a pleasure to have you. How are you today?
Very well. Thank you, David. Looking forward to it.
Nice, nice. Well, can you start off by sharing a bit about your background and your role at Vivid?
Sure. Well, Vivit is my company that I've had now for, I guess, launched it about 14 years ago with the intention of helping other leaders and change makers forge new things, create transformation, launch something that hasn't existed before. So we might call it social innovation, we might call it um, transformation, depending on, and I have worked across 6 continents
Nice.
and with countries 8 times. So, and I stumbled into this a bit, I don't know if accident is the right word, David, but one of my passions has been, actually, can I start this sentence again?
Sure, okay.
Um, I think I stumbled into what I do a little bit accidentally, because I was growing up in the imploding Soviet Union, and I actually remember the corner of the two streets in Moscow where I stood as a pretty young teenager, maybe 12, 13, realizing that change is inevitable,
Right,
but surely there's got to be a way to do it better
right,
in a way that protects dignity, unlocks possibility. And so that has become kind of a through line of my work. I work very much across industries. I probably now have close to 2 dozen private, nonprofit, government ventures that I've helped launch around the world:
nice.
blockchain, domestic violence, clean energy, green building, 3D printing of hip joints. The topic hasn't mattered as much to me as the mechanics of
Right.
that big, bold transformational change that actually recast the system.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. That is deep. And it's telling that your niche as far as the transformation is expansive. It reaches everywhere. Everybody needs it, and that's a great thing. What does a typical day look like for you?
Well, being completely self-employed, and I'm also on a couple of boards, but effectively a portfolio career, not a lot of typicalness
I
through a
understand.
day. But if I am lucky, I started with a hike. I had a 9.5 miles this morning, and then life admin. And usually in the beginning, in the beginning of the day, it's more the production. It's more the kind of left brain output focused work. And the afternoon and sometimes into the evening, more creative work, my research, my writing, trying to wrap new words around ideas. I have always traveled quite a bit, like I mentioned, 6 continents. So a lot of this will depend on who I'm working with and what I'm launching.
Right.
That will depend which part of the world I am in as well. And usually there's music playing in the background.
Which kind?
Uh, Reggae, soul,
Look at that.
blues,
Nice.
jazz.
All my
Tends to
favorites.
be, yeah, there you go. Just less rigid music. This
Right.
is another thing, right? Like when you work in change, there aren't that many rules or constraints. So it's interesting how even in my life, I've also been drawn to music and other forms of art that are
Mhm.
more open-ended and welcoming from a pretty technical kind of education to start with.
Right. That is awesome. That is awesome. Let me ask, so, since you've been in the business 14, 15 years, what major shifts have you seen in your industry over the last few years?
Um, the need for transformation, I think, has become a lot more clear to more people. Like if I look back, I used to have to actually make that argument. Do you really
Right.
want incremental change? Are you sure that 3, 5% of improvement on whatever your baseline, human performance, engagement, shareholder returns, whatever that might be? I used to have to form an argument that something better, bigger, transformational rather than incremental might be useful. What I feel like has really changed in my practice over the last, I'd say maybe since the pandemic, is that that question is now moot. It feels to a lot of people. We know we need transformational change, not just refinement and incremental improvement. What hasn't changed is that we're still very haphazard about it.
Okay.
We have all kinds of models for small change, for incremental change, right? From, better accounting practices to various kind of lean and sigma. And I mean, and yet transformation remains this thing where even the most experienced, successful people just take the next best step and hope for the best.
Right.
And it is not something we settle in other areas of life, right? You want to know that the fire code has been applied in any building that you go in, right?
Right.
So when I say that I'm working to professionalize change making, it is because we do need that discipline that I still believe as a trend is very much lacking when it comes to creating new things.
Right. So I guess in essence, making this more of a normalized event is something that I guess you're definitely striving to make happen in with everyone that you come in contact with, correct?
Well, exactly. I mean, think about something daily like moving house. We know that it is incredibly stressful. It's one of those high stress, ending relationship, new job, moving house are considered these big life events. And at some point back when we were, I don't know, in the colonies, moving around or whatever,
Right.
it was you just do whatever you need to do next. And now moving house is a whole industry. And
Right.
there's people who do this day in and day out, even if that's not what you think about for the 7, 10 years you might have between moving houses, right?
Right.
And the amount of discipline and rigor and common sense that can be applied to that process can radically reduce how stressful it is and how
Mm.
costly it is and how disappointing it is. So, precisely for me, when it comes to launching new things, creating something that hasn't been before, I work to move it more and more into that mature approach, industry, intentionality, professionalization
Right.
to precisely reduce cost, stress, burnout, um, that sort of thing.
No doubt. No doubt. That's great. What's working well for you right now, would you say? And what's been frustrating, if anything?
What's working well? I like getting older and having people around me get older and just less
Right.
BS and more feels like more courage, more humanity, less performative in
Right.
work and most of my clients are executives and
Right.
it does feel like there is more genuine interest in not just the output, but in how it feels with our moral compass, how it feels kind of in our bodies and our families and our communities. So that's been really good. What is frustrating to me, um, and I suspect AI is a part of that, I'm noticing a growing gap between the level of polish and the level of accountability, right? We are
Right.
getting better, cleaner outputs faster, greater,
Mhm.
like, you remember those horrible emails we all had to read.
Right.
Um, so love that there is less of that, right? And that we can write more clearly. However, thinking has always been a product of writing. And
Hmm.
I am worried that if that gap grows, we
Hmm.
are at risk of losing trust with each other, right?
Right.
Because say, I receive something from somebody and it is makes me think that they really understand and care about my work and have been
Right.
following my journey and inviting me to do something. And that human desire to, oh, sure, I can extend, I can collaborate, I trust this person, I want to know where this goes. But what if they've never actually read anything?
Right.
What if this is an impression that is being created that is then seducing, alluring into business relationships or friendships or whatever?
Right.
What I don't think we understand is how to actually then deal with the rift. We don't have words,
Hmm.
or I think the disappointment between form and substance that we're now seeing in business. Because at the
Right.
end of the day, the only thing that changes anything is people
Right.
choosing to.
That's it.
And that decision making is where I'm seeing some challenge.
Okay. Understood. Understood. Within the business, what would you say are the metrics that you're most focused on improving?
Um, Let me answer that in two ways.
Mhm.
Fundamentally, impact. Most people I work with are, um, what I call change makers. They actually want to create a legacy. They want to make, let's say, the world a better place,
Right.
make a meaningful difference. And so I work a lot with actually trying to measure impact, not just busyness, not just activities, not just we distributed 100 blankets to people in need, but actually going, did those people in need come back for more blankets, or did we actually disrupt something? Did we solve something? So
That's
measuring impact as the ultimate reason for why we do what we do is definitely something I'm always working on improving.
nice.
At a very rudimentary level, financial modeling. It is amazing how many entrepreneurs, especially if they're mission driven, almost feel like understanding how money works in their ventures is like selling out.
Right.
Whereas I'm like, you have to know and find these variables. I love building financial models, right?
Nice.
Because if at that point you know what's the one lever that you can move to increase profitability or something by 5%, the clarity, the power, and it does seem like that gets skipped and delegated a lot
Right.
to other platforms and technologies. But for me, confidence has always been earned through kind of a somewhat of a hard knocks school,
Right.
right? So
Right.
if when people delegate all of their kind of financial modeling or understanding of their business, I think it shows kind of
Right.
in the confidence and the boldness with which they can actually take informed risks.
No doubt. No doubt. That makes a lot of sense. Where do you see Vivid being in the next 6 to 12 months from now?
Solving more impossible challenges.
Nice. Nice.
Already primarily get asked when either something impossible needs to happen or something that needs to happen is desperately failing. I do a lot of diagnostics of industries, whole movements. So hopefully more of that. I'm hoping to finish my PhD research into the elements and formulas of transformational change this year. And then yeah, I think we have not just small problems of how do we still solve for cataracts? How do we still solve for burnout? Like
Right.
specific things, but we also have whole societies, whole systems that need to be recast because they've not evolved for these conditions. So
Right.
in short, I mean, I would love to, I don't know, be picked up by helicopter and taken to some place where a hurricane has happened and try to conceive of a new mix of livelihoods and possibilities for that area. That kind of work, I think, and I've done some of it, but that kind of work, the stakes getting higher and higher,
Right.
is sounds like maybe sucker for punishment, but it also feels like that's what I work towards, right? We all want I want to be pressure tested, right? I
Right.
want to be solving bigger things and enabling people close to the problem, close on the ground, to become more effective agents for
Right.
change.
Right.
So yeah, that's
You,
hopefully
you,
just.
You call it a sucker for punishment. I call it you just want to be a superhero. That's all, Elena.
Oh, that's all. That's right.
If we just throw a little cape behind you, you win. You
Hey,
got
hey,
it.
can you not see it?
Yeah, I see it for sure. All right, last question. If you had a magic wand to fix just one thing in your business with Vivid that's slowing you down at all, what would it be?
Marketing.
Yeah, yeah,
I just yeah, outreach and marketing. I
I got you.
like creating substance and I get kind of bored and discouraged
Hmm.
getting it out there.
I got you. I got you.
So that would be mine. If I could just, I don't know, have a little army of, I don't know, interns or young change makers who
I got you.
want to do that, that'd be great.
I got you. I got you. All right. Well, that's it, man. Look, I can talk to you forever. You're a pleasant to just converse with, and I love your drive and your mentality to affect change. And I really appreciate you spending these few moments with me, and I really, really thank you.